the most magical and most visited theme park in the world, with over 34 attractions helping fairy tale fantasy become reality. Whilst exciting, planning that perfect visit to Disney's Magic Kingdom can be a pretty daunting prospect for newcomers without any obvious place to start. Hi, I'm the Frugal Brit, and for this video I'll provide an idiot's guide to visiting Disney's Magic Kingdom, covering all the basics through a guided tour around its 6 unique lands, covering all attractions, entertainment and shows. Before we get into it, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss out on future guides, reviews and other Disney World Orlando content. Opening in 1971, Magic Kingdom was the first of Walt Disney World's theme parks, but it was designed to recreate the experience from Disneyland on a slightly larger scale. Unlike its Californian predecessor, Magic Kingdom in Walt Disney World doesn't lack in space, and its design is quite unusual in that it's located more than a mile away from its car park, on the opposite side of the man-made Seven Seas Lagoon. This place is called the Transportation and Ticket Center, which is the official way you're supposed to travel over to Magic Kingdom for day guests. Over here, you'll be taken through security and you can purchase tickets, although I'd strongly recommend that you sort tickets way in advance of your trip, and I'll leave a link to a guide on tickets in the description. If you're looking to get as much done as possible in one day, then I'd recommend that day guests arrive at the Transportation and Ticket Center around 45 minutes to an hour before official opening time so that you can beat those crowds during busy periods. To reach the park, guests can either use the ferry boat or the Walt Disney World monorail system. The ferry boat is typically the slightly slower way to get to the park, but is the more relaxing route and the better choice for those with strollers. The monorail does loop around Seven Seas Lagoon, stopping at the 3 Magic Kingdom resorts, but day guests will want to pick the express lane. On your way, you'll pass through the retro-futuristic Contemporary Resort, followed by a wide view of the park entrance and a glimpse of the castle, all adding to the anticipation. Once you arrive at the gates, cast members will link your fingerprint to your ticket before you're directed to the park's train station entrance, which has been redecorated for the 50th anniversary. As we head through the tunnel under the train station, we'll arrive at a turn-of-the-century American town thoroughfare known as Main Street, USA, lined with shops, character greeting venues, and several fancy places to eat. By the way, I will leave a link to my top 10 best restaurant ranking video for Magic Kingdom for those interested in the park's dining options. Main Street will entertain guests with a variety of performances, including cavalcades, a barbershop quartet, a live pianist playing ragtime classics. It's also a popular viewing spot for the Festival of Fantasy Parade and the Disney Enchantment fireworks show, all of which I'll cover in more detail towards the end of the video. Historically, Main Street USA would also contain one of the 3 Walt Disney World Railroad stations, but since December 2018, this has been closed to accommodate construction in Tomorrowland. When in operation, it provides a convenient, picturesque and nostalgic way to get around Magic Kingdom. In the distance beyond the end of Main Street stands Cinderella Castle, which sits within the park's central plaza. Just like the original Disneyland theme park, the Central Plaza hub connects to all 6 lands, which are Main Street, Adventureland, Frontierland, Liberty Square, Fantasyland and Tomorrowland, all with their own unique themes. Do note that resort guests will be able to travel around Fantasyland and Tomorrowland 30 minutes prior to official park opening, but for this tour we'll be heading around the park in a sort of clockwise direction, starting with Adventureland. You'll enter through a wooden planked bridge, which takes you through the land's tropical landscaping, eventually leading you to the Swiss family treehouse that the Robinson family built after being marooned on an island. This walkthrough attraction recreates scenes from the Swiss Family Robinson movie, where visitors walk up steps in the trunk of the tree through various themed rooms, with items and structures made to appear salvaged from a 19th century shipwreck. As you exit Swiss Family Treehouse, continuing in the same direction, you'll find Jungle Cruise to the south of Adventureland, which has gained new popularity following the release of the movie in 2021. Set in 1938, this ride simulates a riverboat cruise down several major rivers of Asia, Africa and South America. Throughout the queue are references to a Lost Jungle Cruise tour from the Jungle Navigation Company. Your journey begins near the Congo River in Africa before encountering a giant python. a camp raided by gorillas, a downed airplane, a number of African animals. Over the years since the first ever Disney Jungle Cruise, which has been around since 1955 in Disneyland, there's been a growing focus on Disney cast member skippers delivering humorous narration throughout the voyage. Given the new popularity and slow loading for this attraction, definitely consider hitting this attraction at rope drop. And I'd recommend this being one of your priorities with Genie Plus if you are to purchase this add-on. If you don't know what Genie Plus is, I do plan on doing an updated guide on Genie Plus in the future, but in the meantime I will link to a useful guide in the video description. But back to Jungle Cruise, don't worry if your Genie Plus return time is at night, as this is the best time to experience the attraction. At the centre of Adventureland is the Magic Carpets of Aladdin Kids ride, of course themed to the Aladdin movie. Riders in the front rows control how high their carpets fly around a giant genie bottle. Across from Magic Carpets is the classic Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room, which is a Polynesian-themed musical animatronic show drawing from American tiki culture, with a cast of 150 talking, singing and dancing birds and flowers. This attraction, which first opened in Disneyland, was the first ever to use the groundbreaking audio animatronic technology developed by Disney, so holds a special place in the hearts of Disney fans. The final attraction in Adventureland is the iconic Pirates of the Caribbean, the water-based dark ride, another attraction that was reignited following the release of a movie series. The queue winds through the fort, passing supplies and cannons and chess-playing skeletons. There's two differently themed queues which merge at the Pirates Cove loading area. Guests will then embark on a ride through a series of scenes that depict a pirate raid on an island settlement. Passing through various weapons and dungeons within the fortress complex, the mischievous Captain Sparrow can also be found in a number of different scenes. If we continue our clockwise journey around the Magic Kingdom, we'll arrive at Frontierland, themed to the American frontier of the 19th century, designed to be an architectural journey through time. From the settling of the frontier through the California Gold Rush to the antebellum South. To begin this journey, we'll start with the Country Bear Jamboree. Through the rustic frontier cabin known as Grizzly Hall, guests sing along with the country bears to a medley of country ditties celebrating country western heritage. It's one of the last attractions that Walt personally helped develop, and despite having received very few changes over the past 50 years, its surprisingly edgy humour has aged very well. Next, we'll head over to Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, located in the small mining town known as Tumbleweed, with its red rock formations. Disney legend has it that soon after gold was first discovered in the 1850s, trains would take off and race through tunnels by themselves. Riders board trains in an enclosed loading station on a hillside, and upon leaving the station, trains make a left turn into a bat-infested tunnel. Dodge exploding dynamite and falling boulders as you swoop around turns and drops into canyons and dart through the mysterious ghost town of Tumbleweed. For our next attraction, we'll make the short walk over to the rivers of America to follow in the footsteps of early American settlers by boarding a raft over to the Tom Sawyer Island attraction. Themed to the era when Mark Twain and Tom Sawyer reflected a new nation coming into its own. Wander dusty roads lined with tall trees, creaky suspension bridges, secret mine caves, and uncover a frontier fort. Our final attraction within Frontierland is the Splash Mountain musical log flume, themed to characters from Song of the South. Riders board 8 passenger logs, seated 2 by 2 in the impressively themed loading area, after which Brer Frog provides the introductory narration. The ride tells the story of Brer Rabbit, who goes off in search of adventure. You'll glide through hundreds of animatronic animals and other down-home critters as they sing classic Disney ditties, including the famous Zippity Doo-Dah. The ride covers more than half a mile and lasts 10 minutes, splashing through swamps, caves, and bayous before climaxing in a 5-story splash into a thorny briar patch. Due to the controversy surrounding the Song of the South movie, it was announced in 2020 that this attraction will be rethemed to 2009's Princess and the Frog. However, this is not expected to be completed anytime soon. My guess would be 2024 at the very earliest. To the north of Frontierland, on the shores of the river, is Liberty Square, the smallest of all the Magic Kingdom lands. Themed to the colonial era of early America, with nods to the Revolutionary War, such as the impressive Liberty Bell replica, created from the exact same mould as the original Liberty Bell. Presiding over the square is the Hall of Presidents, which is a historical theatre presentation not known for its popularity with children. The show begins with a film presentation of the history of the United States of America and showing how the nation prospered through conflict and long periods of struggle while celebrating the liberties of the American people. The second part of the show features a stage presentation of all 45 presidents in audio animatronic form, ending with the incumbent president reciting the oath of office. Over to the west, you have the Liberty Bell Riverboat, which takes guests on a cruise around the scenic rivers of America aboard an authentic steam-powered paddle wheeler. Passengers enjoy a relaxing half-mile tour around Tom Sawyer Island, with recorded narration in the style of Mark Twain, who shares memories of his time on the Mississippi. You'll encounter a rarely seen side of Magic Kingdom with fantastic views of Big Thunder Mountain, as well as an early American settlement, an idyllic Native American village, and more. This attraction can also be a fun way to experience the parades, assuming it's not your first time. At the top of Liberty Square, we have the Haunted House Mansion Omnimover ride, themed to a haunted house in which the ghostly residents have taken possession of the premises, intended to evoke New England horror stories. Upon entering the mansion, guests are taken into the stretching room for a short introduction to the mansion. Guests climb aboard a gloomy doom buggy to begin their journey through a labyrinth of haunted chambers, featuring narration from the disembodied ghost host who guides you through the haunted estate, full of ghosts, ghouls, and supernatural surprises. Now that we've covered the western section of the park, we'll head back over to the Central Plaza. One of the coolest ways to enter Fantasyland is through Cinderella's castle. Inside, you'll see a mosaic depicting the story of Cinderella. On the other side, you'll arrive at the Castle Courtyard, the classic section of Fantasyland, which contains many of the park's opening day Fantasyland attractions. At the centre of the castle courtyard, guests climb aboard a wood-carved horse under a medieval tent on the Prince Charming Regal Carousel. Cinderella is waiting to meet guests in the Princess Fairy Tale Hall. To the west of the castle courtyard is the It's a Small World musical boat ride tour. Cruise along the Seven Seas waterway on a gentle 10-minute journey through all 7 continents, and pass through vivid scenes representing iconic sights and sounds, featuring over 300 audio animatronic dolls in traditional costumes from all cultures in universal harmony, frolicking in a spirit of international unity, singing It's a Small World, the attraction's only song, with its theme of global peace, said to be the most publicly performed song of all time. Across from It's a Small World is the Peter Pan's Flight attraction. After wandering through the interactive queue, guests board colourful galleons and, with the help of some pixie dust, embark on a flying adventure, passing many of the unforgettable settings and scenes from the 1953 animated classic, including Big Ben and Tower Bridge, then descending into Neverland and the Pirate's Cove, where you'll face the dastardly Captain Hook before returning Peter's young companions safely back to London. This attraction unfortunately generates humongous queues throughout the day due to its slow loading, so be sure to either rope drop this attraction or make it one of your Genie Plus priorities. A few doors down from Peter Pan's Flight, you'll find the Mickey's PhilharMagic 3D Fantasy Adventure with a 150-foot wide, 180-degree wraparound screen. Follow Donald Duck on his adventure through this dream world of classic Disney animated musical sequences. Over on the far east side of the castle courtyard section, you have the Mad Tea Party, where you can sail back and forth around a towering teapot as festive music fills the air. Nearby, you have the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh Dark Ride in the 100-acre wood, based on the movie of the same name. Guests travel through a colourful, song-filled storybook illustration and experience a menagerie of kooky adventures. Now that we've covered all of the classic Fantasyland, we'll take a look at the changes following the new Fantasyland expansion. To the northwest is the Beauty and the Beast area, which starts with the Enchanted Tales with Belle. This is a character show where young guests step into Belle and Maurice's quaint country cottage, and where certain chosen guests will be asked to help reenact the story of Beauty and the Beast for Belle on her birthday. Whilst this isn't a dining video, it would be remiss of me not to mention the Beauty and the Beast Castle, which houses the highly sought after BR Guest restaurant. And further ahead you also have the Gaston's Tavern quick service. A short walk away from the Beast's enchanted castle is the Under the Sea Dark Ride, based on the 1989 animated movie. The attraction's exterior features Prince Eric's castle and surrounding cliffs. After boarding the colourful clamshell Omnimover vehicles, guests proceed through a number of scenes retelling the story of the Little Mermaid. Riders descend underwater past Ariel's grotto and onto King Triton's undersea kingdom, and emerge from the ocean's depths in time to celebrate Ariel's spectacular fairy tale finale. At the centre of New Fantasyland, we have the land's most popular attraction, which is the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train Steel roller coaster, themed to Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Deep inside the age-old mountain, guests board a rustic mine train before heading up a steep incline. Similar to Big Thunder Mountain, the coaster travels both indoors and outdoors and aims to appeal to both kids and adults alike. You travel through hairpin turns, travelling deeper into the mine shaft before being greeted by the Seven Dwarfs whistling and singing whilst they work. At the roller coaster's peak, glimpse an incredible view of Fantasyland before racing back to the foot of the mountain. Despite being a fun coaster, this attraction has outrageously huge wait times. Unless you are a resort guest who can get here 30 minutes before park entry, then rope dropping won't save you much time. Best tactic without spending money on lightning lanes is to jump in the queue 5 minutes before park closure. Nestled over on the northeast corner of Fantasyland is the circus-themed Storybook Circus Subland, inspired by Dumbo, filled with bright colours, circus posters and lively music. Perfect for children under 5, with all attractions geared towards that age. The first attraction on your right as you enter is Dumbo the Flying Elephant, the only attraction that can be found at all 6 Disney castle parks worldwide. Guests climb aboard the famous circus elephant as he discovers he can fly around Storybook Circus. At the top of this subland is the Casey Jr. Splash and Soak Station, which is a water play area which offers young guests a way to cool off on a hot day with interactive water features. There's also a character greeting venue known as Pete's Silly Sideshow, with the likes of Goofy and Donald. Last but not least for Fantasyland and Storybook Circus is the Barnstormer Jr. roller coaster, starring the great Goofini, who performs his world-famous aerial stunt show. Climb aboard a wacky stunt plane and hold on tight as you take to the skies above Fantasyland. The last land to cover for the tour is the sci-fi inspired Tomorrowland to the east of Magic Kingdom. Originally designed as a way to showcase Walt's futurist views and how the world was moving into the future, but as the future came too quickly for this land, the theming changed to a nostalgic exploration of past visions of the future that never was from the 20th century. The first attraction over on your right is the Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor, an interactive comedy show inspired by the Monsters Inc. movies. The premise for the show is that Monstropolis requires more laughs to power the monster world, which leads Mike Wazowski to open their first comedy club. Using digital puppetry, live actors perform voices behind large screens, while computer-rendered monsters appear with the actors' voices. The show's unscripted nature is designed to make each performance unique. Next, we have Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger Spin, which is a shooting gallery dark ride themed to the Toy Story franchise. During the queue, you'll encounter an audio animatronic Buzz Lightyear figure explaining the mission to guests. You'll climb aboard your space cruiser and spin through various interactive scenes scaled to the size of toys. To save the universe, you must collect points by shooting the orange-coloured Zerg insignias with your laser cannons, and at the end you can compare your score with your fellow recruits. To the far east of Tomorrowland is the outer space-themed Space Mountain indoor roller coaster, the oldest operating roller coaster in Florida, impossible to miss with its towering white structure. Upon entering the spaceport loading area, mission control can be heard via the speakers as they monitor spaceport activities. As the rockets leave the loading station, they make a 180-degree turn past the loading area before arriving at a strobe tunnel pulsating blue lights. Riders are then led up a lift hill before being thrust into the darkness of space via a roller coaster that dips and swerves through the galaxy. The ride concludes with the rockets passing through a red swirling wormhole before entering the unload station. At the centre of Tomorrowland, you'll also find the fan favourite Tomorrowland Transit Authority People Mover, or just People Mover as it's commonly known as. Themed as an urban mass transit form of transportation for the future. Part of its appeal is its fast-moving queue, as the design of the station platform has guests boarding and disembarking onto a moving walkway which allows the vehicles to remain in motion at all times. Guests board the elevated trams for a leisurely narrated voyage through Tomorrowland, which takes you behind the scenes of attractions like Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger Spin and Space Mountain. You'll also see the architectural model of Progress City, which was Walt's original prototype for Epcot. Right in the centre of the Tomorrowland Rocket Tower Plaza, you'll find the Astro Orbiter Rocket Spinner attraction. Guests board an elevator with their fellow cadets and ascend to a loading platform to await their space flight. After boarding the retro spacecraft, you levitate and begin a series of rapid revolutions around a galaxy of planets, whilst the sights and sounds of Tomorrowland whiz by in the distance below. At the top of Tomorrowland, we have the Tomorrowland Speedway, a miniature raceway with cars that travel up to 7 miles per hour on a guided trail. Certainly pushing the limits of its futurism theme with these gas-powered vehicles. Guests accelerate around sharp bends through lush foliage with iconic attractions visible from the roadway. Right at the bottom of Tomorrowland is the classic Carousel of Progress, which is a rotating theatre audio animatronic stage show attraction, the longest running stage show in the history of American theatre. The show includes an innovative audience seating area that moves around a stationary centre stage for each act. Follow an American family over 4 generations of progress, steeped in both nostalgia and the futurism of the past. An exploration of the joys of living through the advent of electricity and other technological advances during the 20th century by a typical American family. The final attraction to cover in my Tomorrowland tour is the TRON Lightcylce Power Run semi-enclosed launched steel motorbike roller coaster based on the TRON franchise, taking guests on a ride through the grid on their own light cycle. This attraction is still yet to open to the general public at the time of making this video, but is expected very shortly. It's been extremely popular ever since it opened in Shanghai Disneyland in June 2016. This highly anticipated attraction will allow riders to board a train of 2-wheeled light cycles for a thrilling race through the digital frontier. Now that we've covered all the attractions in the park, I'll give you a quick guide on all main outdoor live entertainment, which you can check the times for on the Disney World app. It makes sense to start with the opening ceremony show, known as the Let the Magic Begin, right in front of Cinderella Castle, where guests are greeted by Mickey Mouse and friends. Once this show is finished, day guests will be allowed to enter the rest of the park. On the west corner of Main Street, you'll find the Casey's Corner Pianist, dazzling audience with an impressive repertoire of ragtime classics, located just outside Casey's Corner quick service restaurant. If you head back down Main Street, you have the Dapper Dan's Barbershop Quartet, who combine vocal harmonies with tap dances, whilst charming audiences with vaudeville humour. Marching down the street clad in brightly coloured uniforms is the Main Street Philharmonic 12-piece brass and percussion ensemble playing songs from classic Disney films, as well as other ragtime and swing standards. Throughout the day, guests can see Mickey and friends on the character cavalcades, such as the 50th anniversary Mickey's Celebration Cavalcade, which will appear 5 times in the day. You also have the Disney Adventure Friends Cavalcade, which runs a couple times in the evening. One of the best performances you'll see at Magic Kingdom comes from Mickey's Magical Friendship Fair, where Mickey and friends take to the stage in front of Cinderella's castle for a musical extravaganza with appearances from Tiana, as well as Anna and Elsa. The second most popular live entertainment at Magic Kingdom is the Festival of Fantasy Parade, with its original score and floats paying tribute to the likes of Little Mermaid and Sleeping Beauty, including Maleficent in dragon form spraying real fire at a couple points along the route. There's 2 performances each day, one at 12 and the other at 3. Due to its popularity, it can be difficult to get a prime viewing spot, so you need to arrive in the Central Plaza or Main Street at least 30 minutes before it starts. You'll also deal with less crowds if you watch over in Frontierland, where it starts from. Finally, we have the 50th anniversary Disney Enchantment fireworks and projection show Spectacular, which debuted in October 2021. Featuring a mixture of Disney music, stunning fireworks and state-of-the-art projections which extend down Main Street USA to complement images displayed on the castle. The show concludes with Tinkerbell taking flight and spreading shimmering gold pixie dust, encouraging all guests to believe in themselves and all around them. That's it for this video. Thank you so much for making it this far. I hope you all have an awesome trip to Walt Disney World whenever that is. Do check out my other videos to help with any planning, and if you're interested in future Orlando content, don't forget to subscribe.